Hey guys, welcome back for another Complex Combo with your girl Sonia B. That's me. I usually jump on here once a week to hit you with some complex conversation or topic that has come up. But in light of mental health awareness and the fact that I watched a video today that struck me emotionally, I wanted to talk about it a little bit with you. Today, I've noticed just in society, the way that the world has changed and we are all being forced to be introverts. We're learning a lot about ourselves. We're learning a lot about our mates. We're learning a lot about how we deal with people, whether it's stressful or non-stressful situations. And you're learning a lot of truths. So maybe that's what this time needed. We needed this time to happen so that we can learn a lot of truths about ourselves and truths about the people that we relate to or relate with. But ideally, I want to talk about emotional maturity and respect and how the two are being treated as mutually exclusive of one another. When in honesty, you need both to have a healthy relationship. And that relationship does not have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a platonic relationship, such as a friendship, or just how we relate to each other as humans. Being empathetic to other people, being empathetic to an individual situation, whether it be a mental situation, personal situation, financial situation, when you think about the world and the state that we're in today. So a couple of examples that I have, people who are doing good, they're doing good by all senses of the word. It looks like they're doing great in their life. They're very successful professionally, academically, financially, whatever it is, they're successful. But these people require constant stroking of their egos. They need to constantly be told how great and wonderful they are. Personally, I think there's something wrong with that. There's a deeper issue that exists that requires that individual to have this constant ego stroking, I call it. But when they always need their successes or their wins to be called out constantly, there's an issue with that. And I think that those things are becoming more prevalent or more obvious because of our situation, having to be sequestered with individuals that we thought we knew, that we really didn't know on a deeper level. And also during this pandemic, you'll see on social media outlets individuals who are being very judgmental of others who have lost their jobs due to this shelter in place. Individuals who are waiting and have been waiting for weeks, months for unemployment, who can't make ends meet on the simple stimulus check that they received. And albeit grateful that they received it, it simply does not meet their day-to-day needs. But there are individuals that are on various social media outlets that are judgmental in their tone. They're talking down to these individuals and ridiculing them for what they believe is them not being productive citizens, not taking this time to be productive. You don't have a job, so go out and get another job. Even if you wanted to get an essential job and there's a need for more people to be in an essential role, people simply are not hiring. I mean, come on. There's just a level of disrespect and callous in the tone that they take because of the individual situation, and they choose social media platforms in which to call these people out. To me, that just displays their lack of emotional maturity, and there's no presence of empathy or respect in the way that you are talking to these individuals. So on the flip side of that, why would these individuals not be inclusively respectful and emotionally mature by saying things to these individuals who have been knocked down by life circumstances? Things like lending a helpful ear, listening. You may not be able to resolve the world's issues or their individual issues. Everyone doesn't need to be a problem solver during this pandemic, but some people just simply need a listening ear. Someone that does not try to offer closure or resolve to their situation, unless you are an employer who happens to have an available job. Can you offer them a job? If not, stop ridiculing them for wanting to receive what our government seemingly says is available to them, but clearly is not happening at a rapid pace. Just my 2 cents. But the whole thing that led me down this path of respect and emotional maturity being mutually inclusive of one another and not independent of each other is I watched a video today of an influential, social media persona who is on both Instagram, Facebook, very well accomplished individual who is very transparent with his sexuality, very transparent with sharing stories about himself, and transparent about who he has chosen to be in quarantine with, and the relationship that has developed between the two of them. And the reason why this individual's video impacted me today, because as cute as they are as a couple, they have, over the course of the last couple of months decided to mutually explore taking their relationship to a different level. But as cute as they are as a couple, I want to be very clear when I make my point. As cute as they are as a couple, his core values were compromised. And what I mean by his core values being compromised, he went into this very knowledgeable, at a very slow, methodical pace. He wanted to make sure that the two individuals were on the same page. And in order to be on the same page with another person when forming or developing a relationship, you have to set boundaries. You have to let the other individual know what it is that you require, what do you need in or out of a relationship, and the other person should be free to do the same thing. Now, before mutually agreeing to enter into a relationship or developing a relationship, the individual was very expressive about how he felt about being in a monogamous relationship. The other person did not, until this day, disclose to the individual that he does not desire to be in a monogamous relationship, but he chooses to be in a polyamorous relationship, inviting random individuals into their bedroom, having encounters with random individuals independent of this individual he said he wanted to develop a relationship with or get to know. And to me, his lie of omission is a representation of him replacing emotional maturity for respect. He's being emotionally mature and expressing, albeit late, what his desire is or his lack of desire for monogamy, but he was rather disrespectful in that he lied by omitting this simple fact when the two agreed to enter into a relationship. And although this entire video is not about this particular couple per se, it's just an example of how as humans in relationships, whether it's male-female, gay, lesbian relationships, you enter into that relationship by making an agreement. You establish what it is that you need and require from the other person. You learn a lot about a person. Are you emotionally secure? Should be one of those things that you learn about the individual. But when you learn all of these things about someone, but you omit that one truth that you know at the very core will compromise that other person's values, you run the risk of losing that individual. Now, I mentioned this in today's video in light of mental health awareness because it's very important that when there are things or triggers that come up in relationships and you communicate them to the other person, you do that willingly because you're being vulnerable. You are being very honest about what it is that you need, what it is that will trigger you, will trigger some previous emotion, or cause you some level of emotional distress, right? So both of you are exchanging these things. When the other person purposely chooses to ignore those core values in you, and vice versa, if you are the villain in this situation, for lack of a better word, you run the risk of losing that individual. And I think it's okay. I think it's okay to lose people, even when you've been emotionally vested in something, even when things seem to be going along just fine. When someone compromises your core values, the very essence of who you are. If you allow them to compromise and you give in to that compromise, aren't you not giving up part of yourself? Aren't you saying to yourself and that person that what I need and what I want and value for myself to remain sane and whole isn't important? Doesn't that speak volumes to the individual? Now, if the individual is selfish and they're only out for what they're out for, they totally disregard your core values and what it is that you need to be whole as an individual. I hope I'm making sense to somebody. But when I watched that video today, all the things that I've mentioned so far, that's what it brought to mind. Respect yourself above all others in a relationship. If you bring to the table those things that you require of the other person, and that other person seemingly, can bring those same things to the table, but you later find out in your exploring one another and you're getting to know one another and you're exchanging information, especially in this time of quarantine, it's okay to come to the realization that it's just not going to work. You don't want to compromise who you are for someone else, because at the end of the day, you'll be very unhappy. You'll be miserable. And will that other person truly be happy watching you in your misery as they get what he or she needs out of the relationship? Probably, if they're narcissists. But if they're not, if they have any type of empathy, if they have any type of self-respect or any respect for you and emotional maturity, all of these things are required in a healthy relationship. If they have those things, he or she would not want to continue on a relationship with you if they see you sacrificing yourself just for the good of them. Just a thought. In light of Mental Health Month, do some self-evaluation. Are you getting what you need out of your relationships, whether they be romantic, platonic, or otherwise? Are you sacrificing yourself just for the sake of saying that you're with someone? Are you sacrificing yourself just for the sake of saying that I was not alone during coronavirus? It's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, when this is all lifted and we go back to what may be a new normal life, you probably won't be with this individual, and you would have wasted the shelter-in-place time cultivating something that had no roots at all. It was just a weed. If you know of whom I speak about in this video, I hope you have some insight. Share your comments below with me. I would like to hear your thoughts on that. If you have no idea who I'm talking about, this is not the platform in which I'm going to mention someone else's social media information, but I just wanted to bring that situationship to light and to have some conversation with you. If you have not already done so, subscribe to my channel by clicking subscribe below. If you have, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel, leave some comments. What brought you here? Do you have any insight? Do you have a coronavirus situationship that you want to discuss? Are you sacrificing yourself for the good of saying that you're with someone? Are you compromising, or is someone compromising your core values? Is it worth it? Let me know. Until next time.